Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video, and welcome then to the start of Season 2 of our F124 Salvaging Sauber career mode. Yes, we're back ready for the season opener in Bahrain, and obviously if you just watched that little kind of preview, you'll see that there were a few driver swaps heading into the new season. Lando Norris and Sergio Perez have done a swap around. Zhou Guanyu has now signed to Haas, replacing Kevin Magnussen as well inside this game. So yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens over at Red Bull, because if I'm not mistaken, the last time someone that wasn't Lando Norris or Max Verstappen won a race was Barcelona last year. So Red Bull now have got a very, very dominant team and two very, very dominant drivers within their cars ready for this season. There have been a few small calendar tweaks as well ready for Season 2 of this series. As you can see, Vegas is actually going to be our season finale this season around. Only the two sprint races as well of Austria and Brazil. Singapore also back as well inside the calendar, and as you can tell, yeah, a few other circuits have been dropped. So just wanted to change it up a little bit, ready for this second campaign. Of course, if you're new to this series and don't know what it's all about, basically we are trying to win the World Championship in a Sauber car in cockpit camera. It's basically the hardest challenge I could possibly do inside F124, of course, before F125 comes out. Get yourselves subscribed. We're trying to hit 7k subs as well. Last year we had a mechanical failure here in Bahrain, so I'm hoping that doesn't happen again.
Under the bright lights of Bahrain, it is time for qualifying. Grid position up in the air. Who is going to seize the moment?
Well, hopefully this season then we are going to be able to put up a championship challenge against those two Red Bulls. It's actually McLaren though that on paper have the fastest car as we enter this new season. We are still currently ranked 6th, but not that far behind the top teams as well. So, you know, get a couple of upgrades on, we could definitely be in that fight as well. And so far this weekend, paces look very, very good. We've got good straight line speed. Obviously focusing on trying to get some power unit upgrades. The Ferrari engine can be the best inside F124 as well. But of course, yeah, we start from a much higher baseline as well this season. But not if I make little mistakes like that then. Hoping we can see Bottas as well score some points over the course of this season. But a big mistake down in the hairpin. That is going to really, really cost us as we try and dive our way through there, and maybe just getting a little bit overzealous on the throttle through some of the corner exits here so far. First lap of the new season is really actually not going our way then, as I believe that's Verstappen up at the front of the order. So intrigued to see what he and Lando are going to be able to do in equal machinery. And I felt like Verstappen had the edge on him last season. I expect it to be the same this campaign. I could see some funny surprises as well then. One more corner to go. So far, this first qualifying lap of the year has not been one to write home about. Only down in provisional P18. Let's try and just absolutely nail it, though. Carry the speed off of the exit up into P17. But still not going to be enough there. P17 on the grid. Not an ideal start, but when you factor in the mistakes, it probably should have been worse. Well, there we go. New season. Same Max Verstappen in P1 there, but 7 thousandths of a second between him and Lando Norris. Oscar Piastri will line up third ahead of Perez there. So both Red Bulls followed up by both McLarens. Ferrari and Mercedes rounding out your top 8 just ahead of Alonso and Pierre Gasly. Very good time by Bottas up in P12. We ended up tying with Zhou Guanyu in P17 there, so that's quite impressive. But yeah, we've got a lot of work to do, even if we just want to score points in the race.
No more testing, no more practice. This is the real deal. And it's make or break here at round 1 of this year's Formula One World Championship. There's no shortage of passing opportunities around the 3.36 miles of the Bahrain International Circuit, with the best, of course, at turn 1 and then another soon after into turn 4. 15 corners here, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, and we could see 1 or 2 flat spots into the tight left-hander of turn 10. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Oscar Piastri, Perez, Leclerc, Hamilton, Sainz, Russell, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Ocon, Bottas, Stroll, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Albon, Mr. Monaco, Joe, Hulkenberg and Logan Sargent. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. Welcome to the commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes, delighted to say that we're joined today by Anthony Davidson. Well, welcome back. After all the testing, the build-up, it all now comes down to this.
Everyone's G'd up for this one. They've done the testing, like you say. The drivers will be revving inside, heart rates going, trying to burst out their chest at this moment. With that anticipation, who's got the speed? We're going to learn now, once and for all.
This is not going to be an easy race from this position, but just give it your best shot.
Well, down on the grid then, yeah, absolutely messed up qualifying yesterday, as I so often do inside this series. But Team wanted to go for a very, very odd strategy, which I'm not going to employ. I think we're going to try and do soft medium here and hopefully carry a little bit more pace through the early laps. I don't think we're going to need too much spare fuel either. This car now has become quite efficient. I feel like now we've got a good race car inside this game. It was very, very bad in Season 1, but we did a lot of chassis upgrades, and that's really helped us out and allowed us to kind of have a car that we feel much more confident in, ready for Season 2. 5 red lights on the grid, though, here in Bahrain. And it's going to be lights out, and away we go then onto a fairly wheel-spinny getaway. As you can see, Bottas there immediately trying to have a look for some moves in towards turn 1. Just going to try and take things fairly, actually aggressively. Oh, in towards that first corner there, as there is plenty of almost bumper cars through that first turn. Got to be careful not to pick up front wing damage on the exit, as we won't gain anything then off of the start there. Very, very dramatic start to this race, as we got someone, I can only assume that was Zhou Guanyu there, trying to look down the inside in his Haas, and the outside though of Alex Albon up at the top of the hill there, somehow finding the avenue, and well, Albon didn't want to give up with it through the exit there, but will be forced into submission, and then down the inside of one of the V-carbs as well. So finally then starting to make a little bit of progress on that one. Like I said, I think we do have a quick car here. I think we are, in performance-wise, but basically on par with Aston Martin in this game. And I'd like to think that we're a slightly better driver than Lance Stroll as well. But you just see a few of the cars up the road winding their way through the exit of Sector 2. Back up the hill we go. Up the other side. And, well, I've got no idea whether it's Verstappen or Norris, or maybe one of those McLarens that leads at the end of lap 1. Maybe this season, obviously with Lando gone, could be Oscar Piastri's chance. But we've definitely got better straight line speed now as well, closing in on Lance Stroll back in towards T1. See the Canadian there, clearly very worried about us, and the two green cars will go wheel to wheel through that first corner. Of course, we had a lot of battles with them last season, coming to blows with Fernando Alonso in the finale in Abu Dhabi, but 3 places gained then, nice and early on. Yeah, pretty happy. We definitely saw towards the end of last season there was a bit of a shift in momentum. Obviously early on, normally we just see the big 5 teams pull away, but ourselves, the Alpines, even the V-carbs on certain occasions could just about hang with some of those faster cars there. I think Alonso actually losing a spot to one of the Alpines as well, so that must be Esteban Ocon, because Gasly is the man right in front of me, and we take some inspiration from Fernando Alonso down the inside of Pierre Gasly then, almost into the back of our teammate, but another move made nice and early. Even if we're not in the positions I want to be early on this season, it's all about trying to build up the confidence, understanding what we can do in this car, because I'm hoping, by the end, hopefully we're going to be fighting for wins. 16 races is really going to kind of emphasise consistency. I'll definitely see more and more battles going on back in towards turn 1. Will we be able to have a look? Oh, that was bad. I didn't actually think I was alongside Bottas there, but just ran into his rear diffuser. That is not what we need early on. Almost like Alonso and Stroll. I think that was back in 2023, wasn't it? Here in Bahrain, where Lance almost took Fernando out on lap 1. But yeah, Alonso again losing another spot then, almost at the top of the hill. The V-carb trying to move themselves up into the points-paying positions. I believe V-carb didn't score a single point last year. It was just them and Haas that failed to score, so I'm sure they'd love to immediately break that curse. Team egging me on to try and go for a move, but we'll just be patient. All this battling is just starting to allow more of those cars to get away. You know, your Ferraris, your Mercedes, maybe they don't have the out-and-out pace to compete with your McLarens and your Red Bulls, but they're certainly still quite quick. As Bottas now will try and make a move. As you can see, Alonso again, this time round on the offensive against Esteban Ocon, of course, his former teammate. So again, sliding the car through that first corner, but up into 12th then. So very, very quickly we've been able to get ourselves in the fight for points. And again, Alonso, an attack is forced to turn into a defence here. Up towards the top of the hill as we will close in on both he and Daniel Ricciardo. Two multiple race winners, wheel to wheel, in towards the S's there. And who is going to come out on top in this situation? We just got nowhere to go. You know what, we'll make it 3 wide there as well. That was a bit aggressive. Had to kind of bounce over the curbing to make it happen. But a cheeky double overtake then. Maybe the FIA not too fan of that one. Let us know down in the comments below. But I want to try and keep up with Esteban. Well, tyre wear doesn't seem to be too much of an issue then, or especially temperature actually here, which is quite impressive around such a traction-limited circuit inside F1 24. We're definitely able to kind of light up those rear wheels in a couple of places as well, but I think we've broken free of the Ricciardo Alonso kind of squabble going on behind us here. Esteban and I both trying to chase down the Ferraris and the Mercedes there, who are definitely starting to fight a little bit more as well. So, don't know which Ferrari that is. I would assume it's Sainz battling with both Mercs. Come on, we just got to try and keep closing in. I'm not even sure at the moment I want to try and go past this Esteban Ocon, especially as we get closer to the pit window here. Gaining. He's going to try and sit a little bit defensive on turn 1. And there you go, whether I wanted to or not, we're going to go past him through the first corner. It's a huge lock up there from the Alpine. No wonder I made it look easy, Mark. I wasn't trying to do it. What a ridiculous statement to come out with then, but...
Save some ERS, so let's use all the techniques you know about to charge it up.
Let's see what the gap is in
Okay,
front.
Sainz is ahead of you. Okay, so gap to the car ahead, 2.9 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Okay, their tyres are 7 laps old. We think they've got 1 more stop. And the time last lap, 1:32.9. This is excellent stuff. You're closing in by 7/10 a lap.
There we go. Clearly we have got some good pace against Carlos Sainz in front. Of course, he is battling with those Mercedes cars, but considering we lined up P17 here, we've done very, very well. They're going to get back through the pack. Oh, we've got yellows. We've got yellows. Someone's slowing down. Oh, that's a Ferrari. I think that's Charles Leclerc then that's gone pop in this Grand Prix. So up into 8th place then, and well, a safety car now will just allow everybody to make a free pit stop here. So disappointment, again a Ferrari power unit going bang in the desert, and not the start to the year Charles Leclerc would have wanted. As we get ready then to dive into the pit lane, though, only just remembered to tell the team that we want to set a mediums ready for the second half of this race. Looks like we have already started to see a couple of cars in, so temporarily up into P7, but it's those 3 in front. They're going to be our fight towards the end of the afternoon. I don't envy anybody that's going to have to do an extra lap on those softs, and Sainz is going to do so anyway, so not too sure why. As well, make sure we get the car slowed down then into the pit lane then. No idea which Mercedes that is just in front. I think it's Hamilton. I could be completely wrong, but I think that's Lewis Hamilton then. Come on, team, let's start the year with a good pit stop, please. Please? Maybe? Yeah, there you go. Or not.
Perfect job on the turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one.
Well, I was spamming the upshift, but the team didn't want to let me go just yet there, as out onto the circuit once more.
We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross onto the track.
Yeah, really got to try and maximise that pit exit line, though, as best as you can. Let's try and find out. Is it Lewis Hamilton in front of me? I believe it is.
Hamilton ahead. Okay, keep an eye on that gap ahead, please. 2.6 seconds. Okay, they're on fresh hards.
So there you go. Most AI are still moving over to a set of the hard compound tyre ready for the second half, so we still have a little advantage, but it's about looking after these tyres to make sure we prolong that advantage for as kind of long into the race as I can. But as everybody else then into the pit lane, these medium tyres have really got up to temperature, and I feel like we've got a good pace advantage over Hamilton right now. So maybe we'll get an undercut, as I could see a Ferrari, I can see a Mercedes coming back out of the pit lane then. Sainz and Lewis wheel to wheel. Oh, plenty of wheel banging down at turn 1, and Hamilton will get around his outside there, but those two really tripping over each other. That might allow us an opportunity on the exit. Sainz, though, going to have the DRS, but just unable to quite pull back alongside Lewis here. He's still on cold rubber on this outlap, so this is going to be our chance to try and get ahead and be the highest placed Ferrari-powered car in this race. Could we have a look down the inside in towards the hairpin or Sainz? I don't know if he was trying to go for a move on Lewis or what, but definitely kind of half committed to defending the overtake. That kind of took me by surprise there, and again, a little bit of a bumper cars kind of move, but start of the new season, that was basically what Sainz did to Antonelli in the real Bahrain GP, if you remember that a few weeks ago. There are still some battles going on a little way up the road, but of course, yeah, we should be seeing our last few cars into the pit lane at the end of this lap, so I think we should be out in P8 here, maybe in P7. Can't quite remember. P8 in this race for now then. You can definitely still see some battles up in front, but yeah, definitely a strong start of the year though, battling against Mercedes there as well. Hamilton unable to get the power down off of turn 2 there. Despite having the DRS, we should be able to get a run on him to the outside of the 7-time world champion. And just like Zhou Guanyu managed in 2022, a Sauber around the outside of a Mercedes into turn 4. Well, I think maybe Haas tried to go for an alternate strategy here right now. So yeah, there we go, another car into the pit lane. So I believe that is one of the Haas's. They often try to go slightly different on strategy around this venue. It's a 130.1. That's not a bad lap to the inside of George Russell. Back in towards someone there, and you can see one of the Red Bulls not too far in front. Normally, I guess that's Perez. But of course, he's not in that car anymore. I would assume, yeah, it's Max versus Oscar at the front of the order, but we are trying to close in on Lando Norris. This medium tyre is definitely the key. Well, I actually got it wrong. It's Verstappen just in front of us in this race, so Lando Norris is trying to defend against his former team's drivers right now to make our way out the final corner. Imagine if it's Perez versus Lando for the win here, just after they've swapped teams heading into the new campaign. But yeah, Verstappen, though, just seems to be a little bit disconnected from that top 3. I don't think I've got the pace to go quicker than him, but I'm pretty certain we are matching him.
Green flag.
Oh, so we've got yellows. We've got yellows again. I think that might be a car behind us then that's gone. Don't know if that's one of the Mercs or maybe Carlos Sainz or what's happened. We could even get a red flag if it's someone span out down at turn 1. I think we're okay. Oh no, here comes Russell, I think, again back at us in towards turn 1, and maybe these medium compound tyres just not quite providing the same grip as the hards are anymore. We've been working really, really hard to try and maximise them there, but Russell, I think, again, kind of look down the inside up towards the top of the hill. I were able to brake slightly later than the Mercedes. So there we go, Lando Norris back into the lead of the Grand Prix then. What a win that would be on debut for his new team. Of course, we've seen already in 2025 just how much Max Verstappen's teammates have struggled against him. But Lando Norris doing the business today. Another big oversteer moment, another big issue down at the first couple of corners, and Russell, again, will try and say thank you very much. Yeah, definitely don't quite have enough that time around, especially, you know, with the 3 DRS zones here, the car behind, you can easily gain about 7/10 a lap. I don't think Russell's got the pace to catch Verstappen, so I think this will still be the battle towards the finish, but it gives us a couple of laps to recharge the pack, to try and go for a bit of a kind of attack again. I tell you what then, even in places where we're not using the battery, we seem to have very, very good straight line speed against that Merc. I know it's not the fastest car in this game, but yeah, that obviously bodes well next weekend, ready for Jeddah. You know, food for thought, of course, and everything like that, but 2 laps remaining then. Seems like we're pulling away. I believe it's still Hamilton that is the car just behind, but yeah, can't help but feel that we could have been in the fight with Verstappen today, and that could have been massive for our World Championship hopes. I know it is still only round 1, but points and momentum can make all the difference. 1 more lap to go then, and it's still myself versus George Russell. Tyres are definitely starting to give up, but can we try and go for one last push to get a run on the Mercedes man? He's going to go defensive in towards turn 1. Of course, Lando obviously had to defend, George had to defend from Lando in the real-life Grand Prix here a few weeks back. But as we try and put the power down out of turn 2 and turn 3, it's going to be one of the best shots of the entire lap there. But again, we just cannot get close enough. And Russell that time around knew it. Didn't even bother to try and throw a block to the inside or anything like that. Just focused on hitting his own braking point and doing the business for himself there. Whoa! No, 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 no. Keep it out the wall. Keep it out the wall. Oh, we've bottomed out. Have we bottomed out? No, it's in neutral. No, 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 no. I don't know how many places we've lost. Aston Martin seems to have gone through, but on the last lap of the Grand Prix, we just got a huge swapper over the curbing there. I hope we're still in the points, but I'm not optimistic, as that has been an absolute disaster.
Okay, they're on old hard tyres.
I cannot believe that.
Laps on those tyres.
Oh,
Time
no.
last lap, 1 minute 31.6. We're gaining by around 2 tenths per lap.
We were doing such a good job. Such a good job. I got no idea who's going to take the victory. Will it be Lando Norris? Will it be one of those McLarens? I have got no idea here, but through the final few corners of the Bahrain Grand Prix, admittedly, it's gone better than it did last season. I think we're still going to be in the points, but only just. It might be P9, it might just be P10 out of the final corner. I'm happy we kept it out of the wall, but that is devastating.
All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
He'd won a sprint before, but now it's time for Grand Prix success. Oscar Piastri takes the win.
Well, you're always unsure of the competition and what your opponents have been able to do in the off-season, but they've come here today, they've delivered the performance that you dream about, and wow, did they make that car sing today. Really impressive stuff.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be McLaren picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
Well, there we are then. McLaren starting the year exactly the way they'll want to go on with a 1-2 finish. Oscar Piastri ahead of his new teammate Sergio Perez. Lando Norris in third ahead of Verstappen. And then both Mercedes inside your top 6 there. The two Spaniards of Sainz and Alonso just ahead of myself. And Esteban Ocon rounds out your top 10 in the end there. Yeah, really, really disappointed not to see the checkered flag, as it was Tsunoda that broke down a little later on in the GP. So VCARB, once again, another opportunity to score points goes missing there. But we start the year with points. It should have been a lot more points than it was. But getting a couple on the board is absolutely critical. Of course, Drivers' Championship, same as the race results. McLaren lead the way in the Constructors, 17 clear of Red Bull. Mercedes in third ahead of Ferrari, Aston and ourselves. And already 7 teams scoring points. Only Williams obviously scored points last year and have failed to score this weekend. But I reckon we could see every team score throughout this campaign there. Maybe not Haas. How far off the back were they in the end? They did all right. So maybe, just maybe, we'll see them get some points as well throughout the campaign. But there we are then. Bahrain done and dusted. Next up will be the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. A massive thank you to everybody for watching. Get yourself subscribed if you're new. And hopefully we can come back and maybe not bottle it.